welcome back to Syndicate Competitive League 3, an exciting start to our finals. What a show from Warlords of the Deep. If anyone can do it, they can. And we're going to start with our commentary team just right off the bat. Selderain, what do you think?
I think I don't want to be in a lender's position right now because that was pretty embarrassing. Like their tanker setups had been working fantastically. Then they brought a kiting team that was actually a tanker setup in disguise, and it was just a spectacular failure there. But for sure, that was the opening match we all wanted.
I think what the fucking fuck is Gobbins playing at? He's taken what looked like a good kiting setup, what we all thought had a pretty decent chance of winning there, and it's like he's gone, well, this is a good setup, let's turn it into a tinker team because moving is hard. Why?
Yeah, that was interesting for sure. I'm wondering what sort of ninja tinker teams we're going to see in the next match from PL. Maybe Sleipnir tinker tanking team.
I would not be surprised at this point. Those Sleipnirs having quite good resist. You could turn that into a tinker team, and I wouldn't put it past them doing it. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be a
Yeah.
purely Caracal-based tinker team, or a 4-axe tinker team next time.
But what a match, though! What a match! It was just spectacular, and the void bombs—that was a stroke of genius, nuking all that cap from those bombs.
Yeah, those void bombs are brilliant. We were thinking maybe it would be bombs, but we hadn't thought of energy bombs, and they worked really well. That Tengu just suddenly out of cap, suddenly dropped. It worked really well to kill it off, and yeah, what are you going to do now, Goblins? You clearly have nothing else. Are you panicking? I bet you're panicking now.
I hope he's panicking. I hope he's panicking enough to bring something that is not a tinker setup, because I don't think anybody wants to see another one of them.
Or
Yep, so
if
certainly not from us. After that, I think we've shown that's the 5th time in a row I've seen what is essentially Warlords of Deep Hydra team beating a PL team in a Tinker team without any real problem. Let's not see it a 6th and 7th time in a row, please.
Yes, variety is in fact the spice of life. We certainly want that variety. And just a reminder, we are doing trivia sponsored by SomerBlink. So just a reminder for that trivia question, what is the name of the person who continually abducts the damsel in distress? And you're going to send your answer as the reason when you send .01 ISK to Miss Loot Gods. And we do have a new guest in the studio. Welcome. He is of course, a friend of the Syndicate Competitive League. He was around for SCL 2 and is now part of the CSM 8 Elect. So welcome aboard, Rip Arteg. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks very much for having me, Danny.
Yes, thank you for coming on. We are ecstatic to have you join us for a little while. So, what did you think about that first match?
I thought that was fantastic. That was I am totally in total agreement. I think that was exactly what we needed to see, was just that Tinker team just absolutely crushed. Warlords had to show that they weren't going to accept a lot of PL nonsense about this about that match, and they definitely showed it. The timing of those void bombs was absolutely spectacular. Just watching on the screen, you could see the entire cap chain collapse when that first void bomb hit, which was exactly what we wanted to see. I am kind of curious if goblins might be addicted to mid slots. I mean, the one thing about that Tinker tank setup is you don't use prop mods, and so you pick up 6, 7 mid slots. I wonder if he's become addicted to having those 6 or 7 extra mid slots, because they do make a big difference in the tournament environment.
They
Yeah.
absolutely do.
Yeah, I think the ban's there quite clever. Just banning it so they know there's a shield setup coming as well. And possibly a bit weaker when you've got that little bit less buffer when the void bombs just hit and you're just gone poof. And I really don't think Goblins has anything else. I wouldn't be surprised if we see PL bringing a very similar team, thinking, well, they'll never see that coming if we bring it again after we got stomped, and we can win it next time now. We know the void bombs are coming, and it'll be the same thing again.
No, I think his team will object to that pretty strenuously.
I don't
That match
know.
would be embarrassing.
I think Goblins can pull something out. I think if they have a lot of creative minds when it comes to that sort of thing. So I think if they put their heads together and maybe put forth a tiny bit of effort, they may be able to, bring something new, exciting, something that's not a tinker tank.
Oh no, I guarantee you they have several other setups. Something we've seen again and again from PL in Alliance tournaments, in New Eden Open, and in SCL. They bring the same setup over and over again until they get beaten in it, and then they bring the real setups that they really want to try.
Yeah, I hope so. We've seen certainly PL bring out completely off-wall, completely new setups people haven't seen before, late in tournaments before. So I'm definitely hoping we've seen something like that. There hasn't been that much time to practice, so I don't know if we've had time to test that much in way of different teams. But I am really hoping we'll see something completely new next round.
Yes, and that should be mentioned. The teams did not have much time to practice. The Sissy build is new. It came in just this week, so they really did not have much time to practice with the new ships that have been thrown into the mix. So I mean, really, all things considered, this has been a fantastic weekend of matches with as little preparation time as the teams have had.
Yeah, speaking as somebody completely outside of the process this week, that's been the one really exciting thing for me is seeing seeing the Kane Navy issues, seeing the Harb Navy issues, seeing the updated faction battleships in fights. I think that's been really great.
Now, speaking of that, you are on the inside track for all of that sort of thing as a member of the newly elected CSMA. Now, we had Rise on a little bit earlier, and he was talking about working with you all. So, how has that transition been?
It's been really, really good. I think we are no longer the CSM elect. I'd say we are now the CSM as of this past, well, day before, no, just yesterday now. We had our first stakeholder meeting with Team 5.0. That went really, really well. We're obviously very late in the development cycle, so there wasn't a whole lot that we could do in terms of affecting change because they're getting real close to the release of Odyssey here in about 3 weeks' time. But it was a great meeting in terms of learning how that stakeholder process works. I really want to give kudos to CSM7 for getting that process started. I think CSM8 is going to do a great job of taking that ball and running with it. We had 8 out of our 14 members at that stakeholder meeting, even though it took place at 4 a.m. Pacific time, a little bit early there. We've got 10 of 14 CSM8 members, very active in the CSM8 private threads on the Evo forums and in the multiple Skype channels we have going with multiple teams and multiple devs, including both Rise and Fozzy. So, we've had a lot of input. I think our big focus area so far, other than the faction battleships, has been the new scanning system. There were a couple of little surprises in terms of the new scanning system that we weren't 100% happy with. So we kind of gently made our objections to that known, and CCP Tallest, God bless him, took our input and ran with it. And we're seeing some last minute change going to go into Odyssey, which will hopefully make that scanning system a lot better.
Excellent. Now, there has been a lot of feedback on the new scanning system. So, what kind of direction is the CSM giving CCP about that?
Well, I want to be kind of very careful about kind of not breaching the NDA here, but we were a little bit concerned that CCP was taking features away that players have gotten really used to. Particularly in wormhole groups, you get a lot of players kind of cooperatively scanning a system that make that process run a lot faster, and the ability to do that was to a certain extent taken away for Odyssey. So we really kind of pushed bringing that back, and then a few other items that were related to that. Again, I want to be very careful not to breach the NDA, not to breach what we're saying in confidence to CCP. But if you kind of read between the lines of what Tallest is putting back in, I think you can see kind of the lines that our input in that area took.
All right. Now, how has CCP been when it comes to being receptive to your feedback when you're giving it about these new features that are coming out for Odyssey?
They are so fantastic about that. They are so willing to engage us, to listen to us, to get us involved. We've got a channel both with the Team 5.0, which we're the actual official stakeholder on, but we've also got a general channel for both CSM members and CCP employees, and we get CCP employees from right across the dev spectrum, and all of them are very eager to talk to us and get our input on things. Every once in a while we'll get one of them saying, okay, don't share this, but we're thinking about doing this. What do you guys think? And, it's just this kind of very casual, off the wall kind of thing. And, suddenly we have to think about it and, give our input on it. And the thing that is just great about CSM8 so far is so many of the members are active that the devs get a lot of input really quickly. Almost instantly we're able to turn that around and give them feedback on things that they're thinking about doing. So hopefully that word will spread within CCP, and we'll be seeing more CCP employees in that channel.
All right, excellent. It's great to hear that they're being so receptive and open. And from what I understand, you guys have also had your first stakeholders meeting. But before we get into all that great conversation, we are going to do bans. We do have our bans for the next match coming up, which will be the first round of the third place match. It will be a best of 3 match with Insurance Fraud Inc. versus the Reputation Cartel. And the bans for Insurance Fraud Inc. are Sleipnirs and Legions. The bans for the Reputation Cartel are Ravens and Macarials. And another quick reminder, we will be giving away the Violator, the Serpentis noob ship, right after this match, and then we will be doing our final giveaway sponsored by SomerBlink. Now, the teams are in system. We don't really know what they're fielding yet, but how are you all feeling about these bans?
Very interesting bans, quite different from what we've seen before as a combined total of the bans. I suspect they might even have found they've banned out stuff they were planning to take with the other team's bans, seeing quite a lot of the centre points like Max, Sleipnir's Legion's gone. There might be some scrabbling to find setups at work here. I think we're probably going to see at least one Galante team here. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Vindicators in here.
Yeah, the bans from Rep Cartel seem to be like banning DHB Wildcat off the field. I'm surprised they didn't ban Raven and Typhoon. That would have completely sealed the deal there.
There's always the old favourite Caldari Navy Raven. I'm sure Wildcat can find a way to fly a cruise battleship, even if it's one that doesn't have cruise bonuses.
Well, he is certainly a free spirit when it comes to the tournaments. So it looks like the teams are getting ready to move to the beacons. I'm going to go ahead and toss things over for a quick commercial break before we go to our wonderful commentary team of Bacchanalian and Brent. So this is Syndicate Competitive League 3 with Ari Danica in the studio, along with Elendar and Selderain, with with round 1 of the third place match, Insurance Fraud Inc. versus the Reputation Cartel, coming right up.